Greetings YouTube and welcome to the Blue Corner. As you can see here, today is going to be a Cardfight Vanguard video. In particular, I'm just going to be showing you guys my current deck. Picked up this Ren case at Locals. I thought it looked neat, so yeah. If I see a Kai one though, I'm going to be nabbing that instead because I like him more. Ren's though very strange, or he's just outright crazy. I just saw that episode where he summoned Blaster Dark for the first time. Like, holy crap. I mean, I knew he was probably going to be the token insane like guy, but yeah. So both Ren and Kai are pretty badass. Anyway, what I got is a Narukami deck. Picked up a lot of the needed cards to make it pretty decent. As for how this deck operates, I've only had like a couple of games, so I can't really say I have a full grasp of the strategy, but I do at least have an idea of how some of the cards work. And basically, your big plays are going to come when you've taken 4 damage or more. Yeah, or if you've already done a lot of damage to your opponent. They basically just like get extra boosts depending on what kind of damage has been done, and you just kind of manipulate your counter blasts. So my starter is a Lizard Soldier Session. He has the same ability where you ride on it, you can move it to rear guard, and his ability is counter blast. You can put him in the soul during a turn that he boosts something, and you can just get rid of your opponent's rear guard. So basically he just gets rid of like your opponent's own type of like, I ride this guy and move it to the back. Now guess what? Get that shit out. And then I've got 8 critical triggers, except this guy also has an ability. You can put it into the soul and choose one of your Narukami units, and it gets 3,000 until end of turn. Otherwise, though, I'm just running the standard line of 8 criticals, 4 draw, and 4 heal. And I'm really surprised that this game hasn't been censored. I mean, I know it's like really weird to be talking about that kind of stuff, but yeah, I find it really odd. I mean, I'm not complaining. A card game should be less censored like this. But yeah, that's it for my grade 0s. Then for my grade 1s, I'm running 2 copies of Photon Bomber Wyvern. When it boosts a Narukami Vanguard, if my number of cards in my opponent's damage zone is 3 or more, which isn't that hard to do, then this boosted unit gets plus 4,000 more. So they're basically getting an extra 10,000 if you've already done 3 or more damage to them while this thing is boosting in the unit. That's pretty good. 2 copies of Desert Gunner Ryan. This makes your opponent's rear guards unable to intercept for a turn. So if you really want to like get a damage push through, and you don't want your opponent blocking your stuff, just put this guy down. And then 4 copies of Red River Dragoon. He's just a vanilla 8,000 grade 1 standard stuff. And then 3 copies of Lightning of Hope Helena. He's just there to get dead cards out of your hand and just draw to your needed pieces. When a unit this guy boosts hits, you can discard a card and then draw. So stuff like that. And rounding it out, there'll be 3 copies of Wyvern Guard Gold. When your opponent declares an attack, you can use this to guard, and then you can discard a card to completely nullify the attack. So it's really useful for when you don't want to risk your opponent's twin drive getting 2 criticals or stuff like that. So yeah, perfect blocks are always nice to have in a deck. I just don't have 4 of them. Then for the grade 2s. 1 copy of Desert Gunner Sheeden, same thing as Ryan. You just put it down, and you make 1 unit your opponent has unable to intercept for a turn. 3 copies of Thunderstorm Dragoon. He's a 10,000 vanilla. Not much else to say about him. 3 copies of Demonic Dragon Berserker Garuda. When this guy attacks and he connects, you can take one of your flipped damage zone monsters and put it up. So it allows you to just reuse your counter blasts a bunch of times. 4 copies of Dragonic Death Scythe. When this guy hits the field, you can counterblast for 2. You just select one of your opponent's grade 2 or less rear guards and get rid of it. So, yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. Works very nicely with Garuda. Then for the grade 3s, I'm running 2 copies of Breakthrough Dragon. When it's boosted by a Narukami unit, it gets an extra 2,000 for the battle. So, I don't know if I should run this or if I should run a copy of the Din. I don't like the Din's inability to hit rear guard, and that could sometimes be very important. But I do admit the Din gets much bigger in battle. But basically, this guy's 12,000 when he gets boosted by something, and then you add in that unit's attack to his own, so he can get pretty big too. I just kind of wanted to put some more dragons in here. 2 copies of Thunderbreak Dragon. Like I said before, I really liked how this card looks, and it's not that bad. When it hits the field, you can get rid of your opponent's grade 2 or less rear guard, so counterblast for 2. And when you have taken 4 damage or more, when he attacks, he becomes 15,000. So 15k is pretty nice. And then finally, to finish things up, 4 copies of Dragonic Kaiser Vermillion. This guy is pretty good. His abilities require you to have 4 or more damage, and if you have a non-Narukami Vanguard, rear guard, then it loses 2,000 attack. But that's irrelevant because this entire deck is Narukami. But anyway, his ability is a counterblast for 3. During his turn, he gets 2,000 plus, so he becomes 13,000, and then he can attack your opponent's Vanguard and his rear guards. So yeah, he can attack every unit in your opponent's in your opponent's front row, and he's doing that at 13,000 attack. Not to mention what kind of stuff you have in the back row boosting him. So he gets big, and he kills everything. Saying that this is one of the best cards in the deck is an understatement. I mean, he is the boss. And yeah, I'm really happy I picked him up, all 4 copies, for basically trading off a couple of my really good cards. I mean, this guy is just as expensive as Azel, if not more. But yeah, that is pretty much how my deck is looking at this time. Veteran Vanguard players, by all means, if you think there are some changes I should make, post in the comments below. Like I said, I've thought about putting this guy in. I almost thought about putting this in for just shits and giggles. I don't know if this is worth putting in, and I almost thought about putting this in too, just to have a little bit more extra draw power. Not to mention, I don't really use my soul at all. I mean, I don't soul blast at all. So if I have like a card that could like take advantage of the fact, just do some kind of soul blasting stuff for extra stuff like that draw power, maybe. I mean, +1s are nice. That's just my Yu-Gi-Oh sense talking. But yeah, so this is my Cardfight Vanguard deck. Hope you guys liked it. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, take care.